everyone, welcome to TalkSped. Today I'm very excited to share a conversation with a very good friend of mine, Dr. Sarika Kurana. She is a speech language pathologist and has a role of a deputy clinical director, and she'll tell us a lot more about all the fun things that she's doing in India, in Bangalore. But before we jump into that, Sarika and I go way back at All India Institute of Speech and Hearing, where we both got our undergraduate. And Sarika chose to be a much more studious student, so went on to get many more degrees. She's also worked not just in India, but at Bangkok and PNG, mostly with pediatric population. And Sarika will tell us all about her experience. And we both share a lot of passion about collaboration and bringing clinical work and academic work together. So hopefully today some of that interesting conversation will be shared with you. Sarika, tell me a little bit more about what all you're doing right now, because this is very, very exciting.
Hi, Nami. Thank you so much for having me here at TalkSped. I keep looking at your videos and I admire how beautifully you connect to people from all different areas of rehabilitation and intervention. And I'm happy to be here and sharing some of my insights and experiences today. So let me begin by talking about my current role. Currently, I'm the Deputy Director Clinical at Dr. S.R. Chandrasekhar Institute of Speech and Hearing. It is in Bangalore, Karnataka. And it's one of the most, less talked about institutes when you look at India, because majority of the time, the bigger institutes get all the focus. But after coming to Chandrasekhar Institute, I realized what a gem of a place it is. And the reason why I think it's a gem is because it is an NGO. It's rare to see an institute of this caliber being run as a non-profit organization. It is a challenge, of course, because we have to, always look out for sources of funding and grants. But on the other end, what is most gratifying is all the services that we offer to people. Because it's an institute of speech and hearing, we have Department of Speech Language Studies, Department of Hearing Studies, we have a full-fledged psychology department, an ENT unit, we have various programs for parents, for students, and for public awareness. Being at academic institutions, we have programs for bachelor's, for master's, and a PhD program in speech language pathology and audiology. And also we have a diploma and a bachelor's in special education for the hearing impaired.
Wonderful. Sarika, that's really great. It's so good to hear about all these different areas. I'm sure there is a very high need for professionals in all the areas that you mentioned. And that's a big undertaking to have all these training programs. So can you tell us a little bit more about the staff that is able to, teach these programs? What is their qualification like?
Yes, we are, lucky that we have a good mix of the experienced staff who've been with us for years, some even for decades, and also the fresh graduates. So we have a healthy mix of both young people who are looking for good experience, and they find that Dr. Chandrasekhar Institute provides both this training of students and the clinical experience to them. And also we have the senior people who've stayed with us for a long and are masters in the field actually.
Great, wonderful. I know that it is a challenge, and in India now we have several of such institutes coming up. So it's wonderful to hear all the great work you're doing with training the students and the community. What about, can you highlight a little bit more about your clinical work that you mentioned, and what does that look like, and how are you supporting that?
Yes, I'm glad, Nami, you want to know a little bit about the clinical work. In India, it's a challenge to provide services to all. And at our institute, we take pride in bringing these services to the needy. Because it's a not-for-profit institute, our rates are rock bottom. We provide services that are affordable for all. Our target audience definitely is persons with communication disorders, speech, language, hearing, swallowing, and balance difficulties. But we do not stop here, because we try and collaborate with other allied professionals like ENT, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, psychologists, special educators, and we try and provide these services with a team effort.
Great, wonderful. I know you cannot do it without collaboration. It's a big undertaking. So what about, how do you keep up with the latest research and, bridge that gap of knowledge? And what is it like right now in India? How much you think you're able to keep up? And I know with the diversity, that brings a bigger challenge of clinical work outreach. So how are you dealing with some of that?
Yes, this is one of the challenges in India, because only 31% of the population who require our services, that is the persons with special needs, they are in the urban areas, and 69% of those who are challenged are in the rural areas. And we are unable to reach those people in the villages and the suburbs. And the reason is because of poor infrastructure in the rural areas, and majority of workforce is in the urban areas. Now, to address that issue, from the Chandrasekhar Institute, what we have done is we have got an excellent mobile van which is equipped with the latest state-of-the-art equipment. It is sound treated. We take it to the rural areas and provide these services at a nominal cost. Majority of times it's free of cost. So that helps us taking these services to different areas.
Wonderful. Now that is the way to go. I know that it is a growing need and a very high need, and just the fact that you can take the services to the people in the rural areas is amazing. Well, I think you also mentioned to me a little bit about some of the parent training programs that you have. Can you highlight that a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm glad that at our institute the focus is not just on the children or the younger population, but also in making parents as a partner in the intervention program. So one of the very popular programs at the institute is the Mothers Training Program, or MTC for short. And here we train mothers in how to deal with children with hearing impairment, right from infancy up to the time when they're ready to be mainstreamed in schools. So we take them through the whole process. It's a very organized and systematic training program for mothers. They come, they spend the whole day with us, and we teach them how to deal with different challenges, both in terms of academics and the clinical goals for such children.
Wonderful. I'm sure, training parents is such an important part of all that we do with children with special needs, that it is so critical to have that partnership. And I'm glad that, you're able to provide that at the Institute, and you're spending energy and time on building such programs. So because they're surely the backbone for the program, for any program to be successful. So this is great to hear. And so, I think there are so many great things, Sarika, that you're sharing with us today. So again, I know funding and being new, these institutes being small, how have you seen, from the time we were together, the role of audiologists and speech pathologists evolving over the years?
Yes, I remember, I think all the speech language pathologists and audiologists from All India Institute of Speech and Hearing, or AISH for short, we all are the privileged lot, because we got the infrastructure that the other institutes don't enjoy. And thankfully, the government funding makes it easier to provide this excellent level of training and infrastructure. But the smaller and the private institutes that are now coming up in India, they are catching up. But I think there are challenges, of course, in terms of funding and in terms of sharing of the research base, sharing of client population, sharing personnel and resources. So I think you really, are doing good by bringing this out. Let me use this as an opportunity to appeal to the bigger organizations that enjoy government or state funding, that if they, consider the smaller private institutes or NGOs as partners, because we have the same target audience, both our clients and students who we are training in this profession, then more collaboration in terms of research and resources will, I think, bring about great turns for this profession in India.
Absolutely, Sarika, totally agree with you. And I think through COVID, one of the biggest silver lining has been for me, not just talking to all my friends and connecting with them, but seeing how we can use this platform, right? So we would love to see more collaboration happening all throughout the world. You're talking, you are appealing to even just India, but I say let's go global. There are alumni that belong to Indian institutes like the All India Institute of Speech and Hearing, or all over the world. We can all do a better job of collaborating together and reaching out to those who need our help and support. So I think with that hope, I hope we will be connected more and collaborate more and bridge that gap that is so critical in the field of speech pathology and audiology between academics and clinical practice. So keep up the good work, Sarika. It is so good and heartwarming to hear all the wonderful things that you're doing and the Institute is doing, and we wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Nami.